What up, y'all? Mrs. Zoo Nation, aka Savage Armor Jim Giraffa, coming at you with Megacolony Friday. One of the major things that this channel is definitely going to go through. One of the major things that I'm definitely going to like about revealing stuff from the set. You already know I don't really like revealing. I really don't like reviewing cards like that often, unless it definitely piques my interest, and because this is not only Mrs. Zoo Nation, but this is also Megacolony, aka my most favorite clan. I most definitely have to do it, man. I have to. Gotta represent the clan. Got to put the clan on my back. No, in all seriousness, this is one of the first of the cards that we're getting in this set. I'm really excited. The effect seems pretty decent and whatnot, and we'll get to it in a minute. But I would like to say something. This is the first grade 3 that we have with a marker. Now, in my honest opinion, I do believe that this proves that we're either going to get two things. We're either not going to get Intimidating Mutant Darkface and Alakides until maybe newer support, like the next support, or we're going to get one of them. And then there's also a possibility that the one we don't get is going to be in the next support as well. I don't know how this is going to go, so we're just going to see when, Gordora gets announced Tuesday. Definitely cannot wait. I really cannot. I really want to go full-blown depth analysis on it. So what I think I'm going to do next Megacolony Friday is actually going to spend that whole day, going full-blown depth with, Gordora and all the possibilities and all the predictions that I do believe might actually come with said Gordora and everything else like that. But enough of that. When we will cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, we are going to be talking about the new card, which is called Destructive Spirit Mutant Dovespeed. So it's a grade 3 with auto Vanguard Rearguard Circle. When placed, cost Counterblast 1. Your opponent cannot call. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get back to the thing. I'm sorry. Like, this thing that I have it on is like in one of my messengers, and another message popped up, so it just kind of interrupted me. Alright, anyway. Let me start all over. Destructive Spirit Mutant Dovespeed, auto Vanguard Rearguard Circle. When placed, cost Counterblast 1. Your opponent puts the top 2 cards of their deck into the drop zone. And if a great... What the fuck? This is stupid. It did it again. Why? Okay, anyway. Okay, third time's the charm. Destructive Spirit Mutant Dovespeed, auto Vanguard Rearguard Circle. When placed, cost Counterblast 1. Your opponent puts the top 2 cards of their deck into the drop zone. And if a grade 1 or greater was put, when your opponent will call from hand to Guardian Circle during the battle that this unit attack, your opponent must call 2 or more cards. Okay, now that I finally got it down. I'm keeping that in because that was complete bullshit. Anyway, this card is missing one thing in particular. If it has this one particular thing, it will be above average. Now, is this a bad card in general? No, it's not a bad card in general. This card is actually very good. The problem that I have with this card is that you don't gain 10k power. And the reason why I say this is an issue is because this is legitimately a literal hit and miss. Now this is what I mean by this. Okay, look at Hiding Killer Leaf, look at Brony Jerk, and look at well, actually no, not Brony Jerk. Look at Hiding Killer Leaf and look at Sakoma Tooth. Look at those two particular cards in general. Regardless if you hit the grade 1 or greater on the mill or not, you still get 10k power. So it's like with Hiding Killer Leaf, if you hit like a grade 0, you don't get the draw, but you do get the 10k. With Cyclomatooth, if you hit a grade 0, you get the 10k, but you don't get the extra critical. See, there's still like something that you still get with it. Yes, I understand that you still get a mill from it at the end of the day, which is understandable. But you still get the cost worth, where you have the counter blast and soul blast and stuff like that, and you'll still get the 10k. The problem with this card is it doesn't have a soul blast cost, it just has a counter blast cost. And if you hit a grade 0 on your mill, it's like, okay, I understand they have one less trigger, they have one less trigger to depend on, which is understandable, but at the same time, at least I get 10k. You gotta remember that this is just a 12k base unit. If this was a Force Clan, it would have been a little bit understandable because it'll be 13, which means it will hit regardless. But you also gotta remember that Force Clans are starting to become a thing right now. We're starting to become more of a Force Clan meta, and that means that everybody's Vanguard's going to be at 13k. And this card in particular is only 12, which means that it's forced to have a booster. And trust me, sometimes other clans hit hard enough to where you don't have the necessary booster to do. And now all I gotta do is try to hit a trigger. And if I don't hit trigger, then that is a dead column. And like I said in my how to improve Megacolony video, we do not need dead columns. That is going to be a huge issue. Alright, but outside of that, it does have a lot of interest and synergy. It's finally a decent alternative grade 3 for Gun and Kaleo. Not saying that Cyclomatooth was a bad card. Cyclomatooth is actually a pretty good card. I do like the combo where you ride Cyclomatooth first, and then you ride into Gun and Kaleo, and then your opponent has to discard and mill a card from the top of their deck twice. Just with those two cards in particular. At the same time, you also got to remember of how fast this format is. You don't really, like I mentioned in the video too, you don't really have the luxury to go into grade 3, the second grade 3 turn. We have to have units that can actually kill you off on the first grade 3 turn if possible. And this unit in particular, despite that is good, and it does have the potential to kill your opponent off, you also got to remember that there's too much riding on it in order for you to completely depend on the unit. But outside of that, it is definitely a good alternative for Gun and Kaleo. Now, it is a possibility, now that we're seeing this particular unit, that Ghidorah and the web mechanic might actually have to do something with milling, which in that particular case, I'm definitely all up for. You want to know why? Because that will finally give Megacolony identity. If we're going full blown into this milling mechanic, that basically means that Megacolony in the V series finally has an identity. Right now, when you look at the support from both Destructive War and Raging Tactics, and I'm actually glad that somebody from one of the main colony groups I'm in actually brought that up to my point, because that was something that I did miss in my other video. Is at the moment Megacolony does not have an identity, and I'm really hoping that it's a mill mechanic in Ghidorah, because if it is, we definitely gonna be good. But with this particular unit, if it doesn't, then we definitely have something that can go with Gun and Kaleo, which is a little bit understandable. This also could you know, be a decent card with Stack Beetle and Spark Hercules, because you'll call it out with Stack Beetle, you'll use his effect and everything else. The other issue that I definitely have with this card is an on place, which honestly I do feel like I'm getting tired of on place units too. That was another thing that was kind of brought up to my attention too, which I didn't even think about till somebody actually brought that up to my attention, because we do have stuff like Butterfly Officer that puts stuff back into the soul and stuff like that, but outside of that we don't really have nothing else